Greetings, knife community. This is Blade Love coming at you from the Sharpest Edge, and you are in the man cave for a special edition of our Fireside chat. The Fireside's going on over there, but I'm really going to focus today on something I think is a very important and somewhat controversial topic in our community going on today. In the knife community, I've noticed at the knife shows that people have been very awesome walking around in the knife shows that are put on and just checking out all the dealerships and that. But occasionally I see a knife dealer that may be from Pakistan or a knife dealer that may be from Wazirabad or something like that outside of our country. And I notice people don't, look at their knives very often. This isn't just an isolated incident. I've been seeing this for hundreds of shows. I hear it all the time on community threads. One of the things that I was very disappointed seeing people talk on Blade Forum about how foreign knives are ruining our country. Honestly, I have a way different opinion. I've been collecting knives all my life, since I was 5 years old. It's quite a few years of collecting, I will tell you. I won't tell you how many, but it's quite a few. I also had the great fortune of growing up in a military family. One of the best benefits of that is you get to see things from the world's perspective, not just from an isolated perspective. Recently, I had an interaction with a knife community member whom not only, I don't want to use the word ignorant, I don't want to use inexperienced, but closed-minded, very closed-minded and very just xenophobic, I guess you could call it. Stating that everything in America has top level, everything in America that's made in America is the best. There cannot be no other place. Look, there's a great deal of patriotism in this guy. This guy is a proud descendant of U.S. Marine Corps personnel, and I will tell you what, I bleed red, white, and blue, so I don't want to hear the bullshit about the patriotism and all that stuff. What is a really important factor to remember is that there are other great nations and countries out there, knife makers. You just have to broaden your mind. And what really kills me about our community is we have such a diverse community. Blade steels, designs, knives, and that. But when it comes to knives being outside of the country, all of a sudden people close up and they're like, no. I mean, let's look at the origins of knives and swords. I mean, we're talking what the U.S. calls third world nations, okay? Which is a stupid term for anything, but anyway, I mean, we're looking at the Arabian Nights swords, scimitar swords, samurai swords. We're talking about daggers, all kinds of pirate cutlery, Russian Cossack sabers. I mean, we're talking swords and knives from all over the world. This is something we could all get into, And what really irritates me the most is to see people thumb their noses up at international knives. I mean, look, we all know that Pakistan has like 50 million knife dealers, okay? And they're all trying to make a living for their families, which is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Just like there's the 50 million knife dealers here popping up. They're all trying to do the same thing. Are all of them good in the United States? No. Are all of them good in Pakistan? No. The whole thing is everybody's trying to make some money for themselves and their families to eke out a living in this sucky world. And what really pisses me off the most is that these beautiful Damascus, there was one of the most beautiful Damascus knives I have seen in a long time, and I've seen many and I own many. And it was gorgeous, and it had a beautiful jaded hilt, and everything was just absolutely gorgeous about this knife. $1,000, I believe, was the price tag on it, and it was gorgeous. And people were like, oh, that's just too expensive for a knife outside the country, blah, 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 blah. And I'm laughing because the gentleman is from Pakistan, but he lives in our country. And I'm like, oh, I just don't even know what to say anymore, because I've known American knife makers that do beautiful Damascus. I've known Pakistani knife makers that do beautiful Damascus. It's just, I don't even know how to help to kind of just blend the divide a bit. We are a knife community. We don't get into the politics of cross country. Let that for the governments and the idiots in office. We are the people. We are the people that put these idiots into office, I guess. And we're the ones that give them all the power. But let all that BS to them. You know, with our community, we're diverse. And there is such a wealth of knowledge and information, so much to learn from everyone in the community. I mean, when I talked to this individual, he was like, oh, there is no such thing as a good knife outside of the United States. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm just going to mention one country. Japan has one of the most beautiful sword making operations in the world, and they cut really well, and they have great steel. Germany, Solingen steel. You know, there's many different countries. France, Spain makes beautiful blades. You know, and now I'm going to really blow your mind. I'm going to go to Pakistan and Wazirabad, and I'm going to tell you that they make some really beautiful knives. There are many families in those areas that make beautiful knives, and they have been in business for hundreds of generations, way before Americans were even in diapers, you know? And what really is disappointing is to see that kind of ignorance level in our community. I mean, there's a great wealth of knowledge about steel and companies and you know, which one they have all this forward opinion. But the second you say something about a Pakistan knife or a Wazirabad knife or some other foreign country that someone may not like, they trash upon it. And that's ridiculous, because there's all this great wealth of knowledge out there and all these great knives out there. I mean, don't let ignorance cloud your judgment. Think for yourself. Don't let a forum tell you what to think. Go see what you find. Look out. There's good knife companies overseas. There's bad knife companies overseas. There's good knife companies here. There's bad knife companies here. Now, I will say this because I want to make a distinction, because people then will come at me and go, hey, well, what about the replicator countries? Okay, let's talk about the replicator country. China. China? Government? No. Because they're replicators that will take SOG or Spyderco or Benchmade and actually create the box and create the knife and make it look like it was made by that company, but it wasn't, and then sell it for $40-some. Like I saw at a Leesport, PA knife show where a Benchmade Claymore was $45. No. Benchmade Claymore is an over $200 knife, and I know the difference between the coating, the steel, and all that, and you can tell by the placement of the butterfly and everything. It's just I don't like replicator countries. What I don't mind are the individual families trying to create their own business, trying to eke out a living for themselves, hopefully without government interference. They try. Like poor Taiwan right now, you know, I mean, they're like thinking, holy crap, you know, after the Ukrainian debacle, where, you know, who's going to help us if China invades Taiwan and then tries to take us over? And I don't even want to get into that kind of politics, but that concerns me because my family's serving overseas. So please ignore that. But anyway, so I don't even know what to say anymore, because I smile. I don't like to get into conflict with people because everybody's got their opinion, and opinions are like assholes, and everybody stinks. So it's like I don't even know what to say. All I try to do is try to open people's eyes. I mean, I love everybody. I love all countries' knives. I don't even care if it's the cheapest ass looking knife. They made it, you know, from what they had, the materials they had, from what they did. And I will tell you what, some of these countries, specifically I've ordered from Wazirabad and Pakistan areas, I've received some really good knives that put some of the American companies to shame. And they're getting wise with their production methods, and they're coming up there. And I've also ordered many American knives that put other countries' knives to shame. And believe me, there is nobody more proud than I am when there's an American company that's doing so well with knives. K-Bar, State and Union, Spartan Blades, 3 of my favorites. They do us proud. And I will tell you, nothing makes me prouder than to see my country succeed. But I know it's not the government of my country that's making it succeed. It's you, the people of the factories. It's you, the customers. It's you, the knife community. It's all of us, we the people. Never forget that. Because we are what matters in this whole thing. And we are together. And that includes our brothers and sisters overseas. So please don't be so quick to knock them out of the game, because there's so many wonderful knife makers overseas that have been doing it for generation. And if you saw the tools they used, their methods, you would be in awe. I mean, I see these people cutting apart cars, scrap metals from whatever they have, melting it down, putting it together. I mean, it boggles the mind. And I sit there just with my hand on my head going, how are you doing this? It's unbelievable. And then the end product they have is just magical. I mean, and I've seen their end product, and I've used their end product, and I know that many of their end products are super tough because of their environment. They are in a hostile environment every single day. So they don't baton their things because they don't need to. They know that it's going to last. You know, they know what materials they need to survive in their environment. And they don't do all these crazy tests like we do. Now, granted, there's replicator countries out there. There's replicated people that are just trying to make a buck. You're going to get those from time to time. But if you find a really good overseas knife maker, that's awesome. Just don't turn your nose up on it just because it's overseas outside the United States. The gentleman that I talked to, I just asked 3 simple questions. I said, number 1, my friend, let me ask you a question. How long you been into knives? Oh, about 5 years. All right, 5 years. It's not too bad. Have you ever stepped foot outside the country? No, can't say that I have. Okay. Have you ever even laid your hands on one of these knives from Wazirabad, Pakistan, or no, I won't do that because, you know, that all countries are pale to the United States in manufacturing processes. Bullshit. Bullshit. So basically, I just, you know, it's the old story of, I can't even remember what the story was, the donkey and the lion and the donkey and the tiger, whatever. You just can't argue with a person that just don't waste your time. And I have to try to remember that because I'm a person that likes to educate and advocate, and quite frankly, it's exhausting. It is, because it's important to remember that we're all in the human race, and we're all in this race together. But I digress. So, folks, I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful week. I am going to wrap this video up, and if you have any questions or comments, please share your thoughts, share your feelings of what your feelings are in the situation. And, as always, the community is respectful and appropriate, so I never worry about my comments or filtering them. My comments are always open. So please go ahead and comment as you will. Just remember, there are kids sometimes that watch my channel, so, just be careful for the language, but, it's all good. But anyhow, guys, you all take care and try to keep an open mind. If you get an opportunity to look at knives, the love of knives is universal. That's what makes us all the knife community, because someone in another country can love knives, we can love knives, and we have something to share right there between ourselves over those boundaries, over those thousands of miles. And that's in itself is incredible in this kind of world right now, that it's trying to isolate us from each other. So for now, let's take care and be good to ourselves. And this has been Blade Love, coming at you from the Sharpest Edge. Thank you for joining me in the man cave, and especially thank you for listening to this special edition of the Fireside Chat. Out for now. You got the sharpest edges.